Rahu in Jyeshta brings great attraction towards exploring one's sexuality. Exploring is the word. These natives love to explore all that is hidden, unseen, unknown. And so, from sex to super consciousness, these natives go a long way in exploring all that which is not easily visible to the naked eyes. Human mind and its hypocrisy is indeed a joke. On one hand, these so called sadhus and monks immediately will condemn you if you talk or mention anything about sex, when in reality, the thought of sex is always lurking in their mind. Always. A man who is obsessed with sex will immediately condemn you if you talk anything about sex. He will immediately label you. That is how the shallow human mind is. God, love, meditation, prayer will not be heard as deeply as the word sex. Mind, that is moon, is a sexual by nature. That is why it is said that all the 27 nakshatras are wives of moon. Imagine 27 women, 27 wives. How much moon or the mind is sexual by nature. You condemn only that which is deeply rooted in your subconscious mind, and you are not willing to face it. You have been suppressing it, and that is how hypocrite men and women go on suppressing their sexual needs, and one day, at the most unexpected moment, the suppressed sexual urge erupts, leading to many sexual scandals. Repression is not the way. Always remember this. Sex is a raw energy. It has to be transformed, and through transformation, there is transcendence. Rather than transforming it, religions have been repressing it. And if you repress it, the natural outcome is a perverted human being. He becomes obsessed with sex. It is a dark irony that the Baba and the Sadhu who have been condemning sex in public have indulged in doing many sexual exploitations in private. Only that man is real saint who openly talks about sex. I had met one such man, and he was the greatest yogi. I used to visit him often. He would share many of his life events. He would mention about his past sexual life experiences, that is before embarking on spiritual path. He was very open about his past life and his obsession towards sex because he was real. The real has absolutely nothing to fear. Let me tell you all from the bottom of my heart. The real has absolutely nothing to fear. Always remember, to be great is an ego goal. To be real is essential. All you need is to be real, be natural. And so whenever I would meet him, he was always found in bliss, laughing, joking, very natural and very humorous. If you find a saint who has no sense of humor, then he is not a saint at all. A true saint is always filled with humor. And so the old man made us laugh, and I enjoyed his company. Just to be in his omnipresence was a blessing in itself. One day, he shared his life story with me. He said, I was born in a very rich family. My father was the mayor of the town. I had everything I could wish for. I had an attendant to take care of me from my childhood days, and I had great attraction towards women. In fact, I had many love affairs, and then one day I stumbled upon a very beautiful girl. The moment I looked into her eyes, I was bold. I wanted her at any cost, and I was thinking how to get her when a very old man came and stood before me. He was something. He looked godly, and I was having tea at a food stall. He came and said, "Do you know where Digambar Kulkarni stays? I have come to meet him." I stood up and said, "I am his son. Wait, I will show you the way." And I started walking with the old man. It was indeed the turning point of my life. Hardly I knew that I had taken the very first step with the Master. His eyes became wet, and I offered him some water, and then he continued. We reached home, and then came the greatest shock of my life. I opened the door, and inside I could see the same old man seated. I looked around, and I could see two versions of the same old man, one standing with me and the other already inside the house. I realized that this old man is something. The old man smiled. His smile was so sweet. I went inside, and then after lunch, the old man asked me to stay with him for a while. I agreed. I thanked God because I thought that I can get that beautiful woman by his help. And so I started massaging his feet. But the Master is the Master. As I was massaging his legs, he looked into my eyes and said, "Sridhar, how beautiful it would be if you could have the same intensity in attaining God that you have for that woman." Those words went so deep into my heart that I was moved inside out. Slowly, I started changing for good. And one day, I went to the same old man, touched his holy feet, and said, "Now take me under your wings. I have realized the futility of all." The old man gave me a warm hug. I was accepted. And then I never looked back. I left all my wealth, my farmland, and my properties, and for last 40 years I have been living in this single room. And yet there is nobody as rich as I am. And this is all because of His divine grace, His blessings, His love, my old man, the Master. The old man's eyes were filled with tears, and so were mine. The fond memories of his master moved his heart. He remained silent for a while, and then looking at me, he said, "Tamhankar, now you can leave. I need to take some rest." That is how he used to fondly address me, Tamhankar. He was such a beautiful human being and also a great spiritual master. I touched his feet and left. As I left, I could sense a lingering fragrance around me. It was his blessings. The Master never shares the story without a message. It was his way of passing on the message that there is a far beautiful world, divine world that exists beyond sex. All you need is the willingness to jump, to risk it all. Only a courageous man can walk on the path, the Buddha path. You cannot travel on the path until you become the path itself, says the Buddha. So beautiful are the words of Buddha. To walk on the spiritual path, you have to first become spiritual. Focus on purifying your thoughts, your karma. A man who has been through all, sex, money, power, can someday attain the beyond. The real saints therefore never condemn sex. How can you condemn sex when you are born out of sex? How can you condemn the very source of your existence? And the most important question, why sex has become more attractive than God? And the answer is simple. Sex has become more and more attractive because of its condemnation by priests. The priests goes on condemning sex, and whatsoever is condemned becomes more attractive. Whatsoever is hidden becomes more attractive. And to someone having Rahu in Jyeshta, to such natives, it just becomes too tempting, because the nature of exploring the hidden is very much imbibed in these natives. Rahu in Jyeshta is not just interested in knowing about sex, but also wants to study more about sex. Jyeshta represents Vatsyayan. Vatsyayana was an ancient Indian philosopher known for authoring the Kama Sutra. Kama Sutra is sex sermon. The curiosity, the urge to document the many sexual postures and share the secrets of lovemaking makes Vatsyayan a perfect example of Jyeshta Nakshatra. The whole purpose of Vatsyayan in sharing and educating the society about sex and lovemaking was basically to bring refinement in sexuality. Because when you discuss sex openly, when you don't find anything wrong about sex, only then you truly evolve as a much matured human being. Vatsyayan scripted the ancient Indian Sanskrit text on sexuality, eroticism, and emotional fulfillment in life. However, his personal life was highly spiritual and he was a very pious person, and this is clearly reflected through the last words that he writes in his famous sutras, the Kama Sutras, the sex sermons. Vatsyayan writes, "This work is not to be used merely as an instrument for satisfying our desires. A person acquainted with the true principles of this science, who preserves his dharma, his artha, and his kama, and who has regard to the customs of the people, is sure to obtain the mastery over his senses." In short, an intelligent and knowing person attending to dharma, that is religion, artha, that is worldly wealth, and also to kama, that is sexual pleasures, without becoming the slave of his passions, will obtain success in everything that he may do. What a great human being Vatsyayan was! Only a spiritual being can relate to these deep, insightful words of Vatsyayana. Jyeshta Rahu is not just knowing more about sexuality, but are also interested in studying in depth about the private parts of human body and how they function. On a positive note, such a Rahu therefore gives birth to top-notch sexologists. People are unaware of the contribution of a sexologist. On a very practical ground, attaining sexual satisfaction or the ability to provide sexual satisfaction is a primary necessity of human beings. And when you are unable to provide or receive sexual satisfaction, you start becoming frustrated. This frustration then leads you to anger, restlessness, and depression. A sexologist treats the problems you face in your sexual life. Many men and women are unable to provide sexual satisfaction to their partners. The erection lasts for just a few seconds. The female partner then remains unsatisfied. Many times the man wants more sex, more penetration, more response from his partner, but the female partner is unable to cope with the demands of her husband or sexual partner. Then there are men who just masturbate and spend time in having oral sex than actual sex. And then many also end up having hastamaithun, meaning having sex using the finger. Such abnormalities of sexual life and many more sexual problems are treated by a good sexologist. Jyeshta Nakshatra does extremely well in this field. In fact, Rahu in Jyeshta Nakshatra can produce an eminent sexologist. This quest of exploring the sexuality and deeper aspects of human life slowly pulls the Rahu in Jyeshta native towards spirituality. Because the way towards spirituality goes through the 8th house, and the 8th house is the house of sexuality and transformations. After going through many sexual adventures and experiences, finally the native realizes the futility of sex, and then begins the real journey, the journey within. Always remember, unless you realize the madness that sex brings to your being, you cannot overcome sex. Sex brings fatigue. That's why the master tells you not to ignore it. Unless you know its madness, you cannot get rid of it. As long as you do not recognize its meaning, the change is impossible. Rahu in Jyeshta is an excellent position for Rahu, because although this Rahu takes you through many sexual intercourse experiences, many sudden shocks, still this same Rahu also enables an intense transformation inside out. This Rahu is very much interested in all that sounds mysterious, and what can be more mysterious than death? And so what happens after death? Where will I go after death? How is life after death? Such questions often exist in their subconscious mind. One need to understand that after death nothing changes. You remain exactly to that level at which you have taken your last breath. So if you are a thief, then after death you will not become an angel. However, if you were a thief, but by the time you took your last breath, you had transformed into a saint, then your journey after life will be that of a saint. That is why death chart is of extreme importance as much as the birth chart is. The opportunity to grow within is given to you from the time of your birth. How much you make use of this golden opportunity is totally based on your state of awareness, on how much effort you take to realize yourself while you are alive. One of the greatest spiritual masters, Paramahansa Yogananda, says, "Don't depend on death to liberate you from your imperfections. You are exactly the same after death as you were before. Nothing changes, you only give up the body. If you are a thief or a liar or a cheater before death, you don't become an angel merely by dying. If such were possible, then let us all go and jump in the ocean now and become angels at once. Whatever you have made of yourself thus far, so will you be hereafter. And when you reincarnate, you will bring that same nature with you. To change, you have to make the effort. This world is the place to do it." What a beautiful quote of Paramahansa Yogananda. A few days ago, during one of my consulting sessions, a woman said to me, I want to die soon. I don't want to live a long life. I am tired of my life. Now, this is how people trap themselves. This was a perfect example of a woman frustrated with her life. Now, if she dies in frustration, what is the point? She will come back again in some other form. This is how the cycle of birth and rebirth continues, my fellows. You should never wish or think of leaving this world, because this is a kind of escape. And by escaping, you will only return back. The solution is not in escaping, but facing your own past karma with courage and faith. When you are born, you cry and people smile. But when you die, you should die with a smile on your face, while the people around you should cry in your fond memories. Always remember, when you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a manner that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Rahu in Jyeshta is a man of letters, but he is interested in what lies beneath. He is a man of depth. Why I am here? Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? And many such questions arise in the native's psyche as he or she grows and matures through their own life experiences. In a way, Rahu in Jyeshta is a blessing in disguise for a person having spiritual inclination, because such a Rahu provides intensity, and it is only through intensity that you can progress on your spiritual path. Reminds me of a story of Baba Farid. Baba Farid was a great Sufi saint, and Baba Farid had his own way of blessing. Whenever someone would come to seek his blessings, Baba Farid would look into his eyes and say, Ja, tujhe ishq ho, meaning go and may you fall in love. The love that Baba used to refer was not an ordinary love, it was a spiritual love. Ordinary love is mohabbat, spiritual love is ishq. Baba's blessings and his words were simply to help you realize the significance of spiritual love, which has no demands but is simply happy to give, to share. लोग कहते थे, बाबा फरीद जब किसी को दुआ देते थे तो ये कहते थे, जा तुझे इश्क हो. And you will fall in love only if there is a certain intensity within you. Rahu in Jyeshta brings this intensity to the native's character. One should be intense in whatsoever he or she does. Only then the joy can be experienced. Only then the bliss can be experienced. Always remember, make life as intense, because you are not separate from life. Always remember, live intensely, live totally, here and now. Paradise is not some place somewhere, it is a peace within you. And it is good to fall in love. Only a man who is intense can fall in love, and the same man someday can also fall in love with God. Reminds me of a man. He wanted to know how God is, where God is, and so one fine day he sets on his search to find the answer. After a long travel, he finally reached a village, a small village, and the people of the village said, there is a great fakir, a Sufi saint in our village, and his name is Baba Farid. We cannot answer your question, but that man can. But be careful, because he is a great mystic, and mystics are very eccentric people. So just be careful, else he will drive you away and you will not find your answer. The man was happy to know that finally he had come to the right destination, and he had heard about Baba Farid. He was indeed one of the greatest Sufi saint, and the very thought of meeting Baba Farid made him feel excited. The next morning the man goes to Baba Farid. Baba Farid was seated beneath a tree in his own bliss, and the man asked, I have heard that you have come to know about God, that you have experienced God. I have come from far away land. Tell me what God is and how God can be known. Baba Farid said, right now I am going to the river to take my morning bath. Come along, and if possible I can answer you there. The man wondered that why Baba cannot answer here itself. Why at the river bank? Why not here? But then he thought it is better to follow Baba, else, as the villager said, he may just drive me away. And so the man followed Baba Farid to the river bank. When they reached, Baba said, you throw off your clothes, become naked, and join me in the river. Perhaps I can answer you then. The man thought, this is going too far. How can I become naked? But then there was nobody around the river, so he agreed. He took off his clothes, became naked, and jumped in the river. Baba also jumped, and then Baba pushed the man's head into the water. The man started struggling, but then he was a thin man, must be a philosopher, never paid attention to his body, and so he was struggling, and Baba kept the man's head inside the water, not letting the man's head to come out of the water. The man struggled, put all his efforts. Baba was a very strong man, and so it was becoming very difficult to fight off. The man passionately tried his best to lift his head out of the water, and finally he succeeded. As soon as he was able to lift his head out of water, he looked at Baba and said, what is this craziness? I was utterly wrong to follow a man like you. Baba smiled and said, you forget about all that. You tell me, what were you thinking when your head was pushed in the water? The man said, thinking? There was no time to think. I just was focused totally on how to come out. Total focused, total efforts I took to come out of water. Baba said, when you desire God so intensely, you will know God, not before that. Now go. And the man left. Always remember, techniques and philosophies and methods won't help you to realize God. It is your passion, it is your intensity that can help you realize God and all the precious things in life that you wish to experience. It is necessary to remember that God is not a philosophical theory. It is an experience of intense passion. Kabir says, when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. Nothing else is needed, no method, no technique. If the intensity is great, then that will do the work. All methods only help your intensity. They don't really help you to go to God. They only make you more and more aflame. Jyeshta is this state of being aflame. Jyeshta is intense. That is why it is called Jyeshta, which means elderly. And Rahu in Jyeshta makes you more intense. And Kabir wants intense men and women. Buddha, Mahavira, they all want intense beings. All methods only help your intensity. All you need is intensity. Sexuality, intensity. Along with this, what is most striking is their nature of repressing their anger. The nature of repressing anger is very dangerous, because the more you repress your anger, the more it goes on damaging you inside out. Repressed anger becomes a temporary madness. Something happens which is beyond your control. If you could have controlled, you would have controlled it still. But suddenly it was overflowing. Suddenly it was beyond you. You couldn't do anything. You felt helpless and it came out. Such a person may not be angry, but he moves and lives in anger. Repression leads to suffocation. Repression is a suicide. Expression is a life. Accidents are common for Rahu in Jyeshta natives. Small accidents often happen in their life, or at times they have to face certain shocks of life. Suddenness in matters of life becomes a way of life, and the native slowly becomes used to receiving certain shocking news or facing certain shocking events in life. Occult mysteries of human life, hypnotism, shamanism, tantra sex, and many such darker arts attract these natives. However, if the native is a spiritually evolved soul, then he takes to meditation, he takes to chanting. He understands that spirituality has absolutely nothing to do with any kind of magic, because magic is man-made, whereas a miracle is God-made. Less evolved positive souls are inclined towards white magic, and less evolved negative souls are inclined towards black magic. It all depends on what kind of person you are, whether you are an evolved soul or a base level soul. Rahu in Jyeshta will never take a pistol and pull the trigger to kill his or her enemies. They generally prefer plotting behind the curtains and striking their enemies through their brain power and not muscle power. They are excellent politicians and they know how to manipulate people and situations in their favor. Along with intensity, the other positive quality of Rahu in Jyeshta is not giving up. These men and women continue to fight back. They will not confront directly, but indirectly through their writings, their speeches, they bring mass revolution. They love freedom and they also are good freedom fighters. Nelson Mandela, one of the greatest freedom fighters, had Rahu in Jyeshta Nakshatra. The whole world is aware of the struggles and many upheavals he had to go through. But eventually he was able to attain freedom for his country. And that is how today you witness the Republic of South Africa, a happy free country. Nelson Mandela took a great interest in meditation. He had realized the significance of living a meditative life. In a letter to his wife who was imprisoned, he writes, "Regular meditation, say of 15 minutes a day before you turn in, can be fruitful in this regard. You may find it difficult at first to pinpoint the negative factors in your life, but the 10th attempt may reap rich rewards. Never forget that a saint is a sinner that keeps on trying." How beautiful and deep are these words of Nelson Mandela. And this is what he writes to his wife. He is encouraging his wife to meditate for 15 minutes a day. And how deep are these words of Nelson Mandela? Never forget that a saint is a sinner that keeps trying. So deep. By trying, by taking efforts, even a stone can be carved into a beautiful idol. Then what to say about a living human being? Even a common human being, Nar, can become godly, Narayan. That is the whole beauty of Jyeshta Rahu, that the person always keeps trying. He is perfectly aware that without consistent efforts, nothing is possible. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi says, no one succeeds without effort. Those who succeed owe their success to perseverance. Bill Gates failed many times, but he kept trying and trying until he succeeded in inventing the Microsoft Windows system. Bill Gates has a Rahu in Jyeshta in his 6th house, a perfect house for Rahu. Although Gates has not officially been on a development team since working on the TRS-80 model, but he wrote code that shipped with the company's product as late as 1989. Jyeshta, a Mercurian Nakshatra connected with the reality of life, which is represented by the 8th house, makes the individual more realistic. Rahu in Jyeshta amplifies the power of Mercury if Mercury is placed well in the chart. Bill Gates has a Mercury placed in his 4th house in Virgo sign as per Vedic horoscope. Jyeshta's ability to write and solve the codes with support of a strong Mercury made him a programming genius. This placement is positive for a software developer provided Mercury is not retrograde and is placed well in the chart. Rahu in Jyeshta gives birth to a good orator, and if the overall placement of the chart is highly spiritual, then you see someone as great as a Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda had a Rahu in Jyeshta Nakshatra in his 12th house. He had several foreign visits, and those visits were so significant because it helped millions to realize the true essence of religion. Jyeshta, now you see the greatness of this wonderful nakshatra. That is why the ancient seers addressed it as a Jyeshta, meaning the elderly, the respected, the knowledgeable, the wise. The touch of Scorpio, the 8th zodiac sign, and the 8th house simply spiritualizes the otherwise Mercury through Jyeshta, which falls in the sign of Scorpio. Constant struggle to discover something new, to invent, to introduce something new to the world is one attribute of Jyeshta. Henry Ford was just like that, a perfect Jyeshta Rahu native. Henry Ford had a Rahu in Jyeshta. By creating the first automobile that middle class Americans could afford, he converted the automobile from an expensive curiosity into an accessible conveyance that profoundly impacted the landscape of the 20th century. His introduction of the Ford Model T automobile revolutionized transportation and American auto industry. As the Ford Motor Company owner, he became one of the richest and best known people in the world. By introducing the first left-hand drive affordable car, the Model T in 1908, Henry Ford revolutionized the US automobile industry. Jyeshta Rahu loves philosophy, and Henry Ford also had his own philosophy of doing business. He was not just an ordinary businessman who does business for earning money. His vision of doing business was by adding certain value to the society, by giving back, by spreading awareness. Overall, he had a humanistic view. He was not that typical businessman who will make money at the cost of others' life. He was not like those shameless businessmen. He was a man of substance. He had certain ethics, certain principles, and that made him a world famous person because he cared for the society and not just money. The most famous quote of Henry Ford is, "A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business." One of the most prominent Christian figure who became well known internationally in the late 1940s, Billy Graham, also has Rahu in Jyeshta Nakshatra. Graham was a spiritual advisor to US presidents, and he provided spiritual counsel for every president from Harry S. Truman to Barack Obama. His whole life he emphasized on strengthening faith within. With faith, you can always overcome the greatest difficulties. We all should realize that it is not money and property that can shape our children, but faith and character. The greatest legacy one can pass on to one's children and grandchildren is not money or other material things accumulated in one's life, but rather a legacy of character and faith. Character is the 8th house property because character is hidden. You don't really know how a person is. Personality is the ascendant, but character is the 8th house treasure. Personality is just a mask. It is a word that is derived from the Greek word persona, which means a mask. You become a victim or get cheated because you fall for the appearance, for the personality, which is just a mask and not the real person. Character is real, and it is what matters at the end of the day. The inner character of a person is the true measure of lasting greatness. When wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. But when character is lost, everything is lost. Character is so deep. It is the 8th house, the real, the unpolished, the natural. Rahu loves Mercury. Mercury is the master of Rahu. And so when Rahu is in Jyeshta, it is in its master's abode. Rahu in Jyeshta as well as Jyeshta Nakshatra in general has given much depth to this human world. I prostrate before the respected wise nakshatra Jyeshta, which holds a certain intensity, a certain depth, a certain wisdom, and the passion to research, discover, invent. This Rahu in Jyeshta certainly has given many great men and women to this human world, and will give more because the journey never stops. God never sleeps. God never sleeps. God is the ultimate fragrance of your consciousness, and consciousness is always awake, always watching you. The larger question is, when are you going to awake? When are you going to start meditating? When are you going to start turning inwards? Meditate and let the journey within begin. Jai Shri Ganesha, Jai Guru.